All right. Good evening, everybody. What's up? A little bit of a delay there. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. But we are about to get to it. What's up? What's up, everybody? All right. So, right off the bat, we are going to go straight into the news. No time to delay. We got a lot to cover today, so we're going to be checking out a few of your requests, of course, after we go over our major ETFs and some of those top movers, some of the plays that we took, EMAs, or swing trades, etc., etc. So those of you who have been coming from TikTok, what kind of coffee you drink? I am not drinking coffee right now. I'm actually drinking magnesium water. Like a nerd. But, Tyler, which one are you talking about? But I think as far as a coffee drinker, I mean, I drink dark, light cream. I don't know if that's what, what you're asking. But anyway, those of you who coming in from TikTok, all that good stuff. We just, yes, my hood option did go through. Yeah, I only grabbed one of those, Tyler. So, and that was a little bit of a. I think it should move into tomorrow, but we'll go over that here. Just if you want to drop that in the chat, I'll go over hood. So. All right, guys, so let's go ahead. Let's get straight to it. I've already shared this on all of my platforms, so hopefully people will pile in here relatively soon. There we go. Okay, so we have, just to recap, we had a lot of phenomenal swing trades that came into today. And so we started the day off really green. I know a lot of people who swung new were able to take even small accounts, were able to take profit on those contracts for a good amount of a chunk of change there. Dunkin' Donuts kind of stalled, but it ended up going green, kind of falling right back down. But nonetheless, guys, it was a Sony DDD even ran and hit our target as well after I closed out. So all around great day. The S&P was up around 0.15%. The NASDAQ was up 0.52%. The Russell 2000 up 1.02%. And the Dow Jones up just barely 0.09%. We saw crypto get clipped up a little bit. Bitcoin sank about 2.3%. Ethereum raced about 3.2% of its gains. Of course, we were anticipating, we talked about the pullback on Bitcoin, and of course it came. Didn't go as high as I thought it would, but regardless, just a little bit of a pullback there. So tomorrow, so as far as economic data, we had new home sales come in. That was one of the main headliners as far as economic data is concerned. But Thursday, so I think we might have one more day in the clear, but I think Thursday and Friday are going to be better days. Are days where we see that data really hit, where we have unemployment data coming in, and we'll go take a look at that too. There it is. What have I done? Just want the calendar. Oh God, I don't want that either. Take me back. There we go. Got scared. Anyway, so we got right here, new home sales. If you guys don't use this site, I highly recommend having this saved or whatever the case may be. It's just clear to the point. Tomorrow, we have EIA crude inventories, durable goods, durable good exports. Those are medium impact. This is why I like this type of data display, because it shows you the impact. But August 26th is where we have the initial claims of unemployment, continuing claims, high impact. And then, of course, Friday, again, personal income, personal spending, PCE prices, and PCE E-Prices Core, which of course are all going to be high impact. So we'll see a little bit more volatility running in towards the end of the day, or end of the week, excuse me. So to recap recap on some of the runners that we saw today. We saw, of course, our AMC popped up, Robinhood popped up, Clover. We actually were able to take trades. Those of you who are in our chat, we actually took a $40 call. I got that for around $210, sold it for around $830. So it was a really good return on that trade. That was towards the end of the day. I actually wasn't even on live when I entered that trade, and then as well as Clove being an entry this morning, those contracts ended up closing for me anyway around 236%, and just leaving some runners into tomorrow. So earnings that we had today, we had Best Buy. They did beat earnings. Their EPS, earnings per share, was $2.98 versus the $1.91 estimate. Revenue was around $11.85 billion, up 20% year over year. They actually moved up 8.3% today. So we also saw Intuit. They also had earnings today. Earnings per share is $1.97 versus the $1.59 estimate. Revenue is $9.6 billion, 25% year over year. So interesting. OTC. That's really funny. They got sponsored OTC stocks. That seems pretty sketchy. Also, so and guys, I could go all day about all the plays that we caught. Those of you on for swing trades, amazing day. I know a lot of you guys swung BABA. You guys swung Baidu. You guys swung a lot of those Chinese stocks, and I know you guys made some really good money on those trades, and those were likely, we covered that news this morning, but these tech giants in China are facing more regulation, so that's actually in favor of those stocks. So yeah, and that's the thing. Evening, what's up everybody? What's up, Luke? I think it's short SQ tomorrow. Yeah, we'll go over that. But yeah, man, I mean, like Mobo, you guys saw like C3 took off. There was a lot of really good trades that we saw towards the end of the day. But all right, so we're gonna go ahead and really just dig into the earnings that we have tomorrow. So as far as StockTwits is concerned, our earnings are concerned on StockTwits. Tomorrow is a little bit more exciting with 40 companies reporting, most of them happening after the bell. Snow, CRM, Splunk, Ulta. Ulta got a price target raised to this morning, and it fell going into earnings. Dick's Sporting Goods, Box, and Autodesk, all some notable names coming in tomorrow. So. Okay, so besides the earnings that we have going into tomorrow, let's see. Okay, so we're going to go over, and I know a lot of you guys already have heard me ramble on about some of the trades that I've taken, but I want to share some of this with some of the people who are on YouTube, who may not obviously have the opportunity to, or who are dealing with smaller accounts, because I think that this stock, and I'm going to go over this trade first, and I'm going to show you guys what my thought process was and why I love swinging Sony. Now, just right off the bat, Sony is a heavily institutionally owned company, right? So the movement on this happens in big chunks, right? And it happens in after hours. And those of you who have been trading here in Simple Stacks for anywhere over a year or nearing a year, we haven't even really been around that long, but you guys know that Sony is one of those stocks that we have traded before it was even Sony. It was SNE. And it was one of those stocks where you could buy a contract towards the end of the day, and the majority of the movement would happen after hours and pre-market. So this morning, I think Opticy mentioned something, but like immediately, and after hours, gap up 102, opened up immediate, and it actually ran. Sony's not one that usually runs, but it is running up to resistance. So one of the reasons why I decided to take this trade, and mind you, Sony on the daily is really where you have to kind of chart it in order to see where it's at, but it does show very respectable lines. ADA, I'm not a crypto guy, sorry. So here we are with Sony with a major downtrend starting in the February, pulling back down, running into this last mark, which was around the 106 mark. This lower low right here. The reason why we took Sony is because we decided to correct support, bounce off of the 200-day moving average, and pop back up above that $100 mark. Now, because it decided to regroup onto support, that let me know that there was still strength in this, and at least we would get some type of run at resistance. Now, we are swinging calls on Sony that are $50, so they're 105 calls and they're $50, and they're weeklies. Usually we don't swing weeklies, but with Sony, it makes the move overnight. Sorry. Somebody was just touching my trash. They just grabbed my trash can, pulled it out, and then put it back in. Yeah, I can see you, dude. Sorry. Weirdos. So anyway, with Sony, we're right up against, slap against this resistance. If we end up breaking it, right, that gap up is going to happen around 105. More than likely, it's going to be 105.45, and at that point, I will likely take profit and watch for a potential retest. Now, with gaps, don't talk to me about gaps on. That's really funny. That's my Venmo, Venmo profile picture. Whoever's in here right now watching that with the welded pipes. That's funny. But there is no such thing as gap fills here on Sony. It is a gap. It's just a big gappy stock. So that was my rationale on that one, guys. Like I said, when you find support, when you find those bounce levels on Sony and you see confirmation or you see accumulation like that, it is a relatively cheap stock to go long on, and it does pay. Okay, and it's not a bad stock for small accounts to swing trade on. So just throwing that out there. And we took, like I said, we took those weekly calls, and mind you, a lot of the calls, the 102 calls, if you guys look at those 102s that went for $80 yesterday, they were going for 200 today. So it was well over 100% return. 200 even. Okay, so besides that, we had Nucor. Now, I know a lot of you guys were sweating this one towards the end of the day. I don't blame you. Opticy was harassing me, calling me a market maker. Not me. But I will say that my rationale on this one was a beautiful, and I really sound like Steve Irwin for stocks sometimes when I do this shit, but like it was a beautiful falling wedge, like just exactly what I want to see when I see this type of setup here. And what ended up happening here is we actually, and I need to fix that, there we go. So we ended up breaking above support, and for me, I said, all right, if Nucor holds this downtrend, right? So I don't even really care about the EMAs, I just want to hold downtrend. And immediately after open or after close, you guys probably noticed that Nucor immediately popped back up 120.50, and then it ran hard. And then today, guys, this was a well over I think it was 200. I'm not sure, Opticy, what you got off if you're on here. Swinging Sony with me, awesome. That's awesome, Quinn. What do you suggest selling the 105 call at? Whenever it gaps up to. Robert, so with Sony, we take profit and if anything, leave runners. I never leave. So one of the ways that I've built the majority of the small accounts that I've had, and I still do. I'm about to open up the TradeStation small account and try and work on that this week or for the rest of the week and going into next week. But it's primarily swing trading. And when it comes to certain stocks that give me great setups, Sony is one that just it either gaps up or it gaps down. There's no in between, and it usually gives you a whole day's worth of movement in a single after hour. So you go to bed, wake up, take profit, and that's the goal with Sony. And really with me and swing trading period, that's just what I like to do. So so what we're going to be looking for tomorrow on Sony, and like I said, it could make it for a good swing or continuation swing, and we'll be watching that. But is the gap downs and gap ups. So if it does end up gapping up 105, right, anywhere around that range, I'm going to go ahead and take profit on the majority of my positions. So, okay. Okay, so new core. Anyway, guys, well over 300% play. This one might end up consolidating, even pulling back a little bit before it ends up popping off. Please keep alerts set on this one. I think this one goes to 130 here relatively soon. So, all right. DDD was another play that I took just because it had and it ended up hitting my price target pretty much on the dot, and I was expecting it to run to the HMA. It actually is pretty well consolidated. This one is on watch tomorrow, and one of the reasons why I have it on watch is if you go out here to the daily time frame, you'll notice that it is holding this downtrend here. So there's a good possibility that we run up to 33.65 on DDD, and I'd like to be there to catch it. So that's one of the reasons why I entered on that trade. Okay, so DNUT, guys, I did go over that trade already, but previously, this one is a long. We're out till September. This one's likely going to see possibly a little pullback tomorrow. We did end the day at support. So starting off this low here and running it up, this is the 5-minute time frame. So anywhere below 1670, you're free to cut that trade for a minimal loss and just re-enter. But I think really 1650 is going to be my stop loss for Krispy Kreme. So, and that one is just a price target raises and strong movement. And we already caught this one. I know a lot of you guys already had $15 calls. Some of you guys TP'd on it, but that ended up running even farther. So, good evening, Upstart. Yes, if you want, right here, guys, just hop in the borrow. I'm taking chart requests here in just a second. Okay, so AMC. Why did I take this call? Yes, of course, everybody was screaming it. But that happened afterwards because I know a lot of people in the group are already watching it. Somebody asked me about it last night. I charted it for them. I told them that if it gets anywhere past this with support, that watch it for volume and a break. And what do we get? Volume and a break. So this does have AMC officially breaking downtrend. Now, where did it end? 4-hour HMA right here, stopped out immediately. Daily time frame, we actually ended above the pivot point. So watch for AMC to retest 4187 and bounce hard. 4185 is a number to remember tomorrow for a potential wick off and another leg up. Another leg up would have us likely around this next pivot point around $50, $52. If it goes to 50, people will start FOMOing in, it'll push it up to 52, and then shorts will likely attack at that point, try and drive people down. So, okay, so we got AMC covered. That was a phenomenal trade, guys. Just accumulation underneath that $48 level. I did use my pivot point strategy because I didn't have any levels set on it. So I went ahead, throw the pivot points up, and I took, those of you who didn't see it, I did signal this in live trading. It was fast. I usually don't like to signal those type of plays without being on live because I want you guys to hear my thoughts and what I'm doing. But this one I ended up diamond handing all the way until it pushed up into the 47.28 where I TP'd for a nice gain. Now Clove, on the other hand, this one I am still holding and I'm waiting for one bounce tomorrow off 880 or 875 at the most. And this one made a nice flag here in after hours. So we'll be looking for continuation on that one. And I'm looking for a push up to $10, hopefully more. So we'll see on that one. Okay, so for as far as watch list tomorrow, guys, I want to just go over Microsoft. Now, Microsoft on the hourly has a very, very obvious bear flag. So just to point that out here, it's sitting on its 50 EMA 302 break, and we could see, and really it's going to be 302 on the dot that needs to get broken. We want to see a candle close. Also, I just, while I'm on the subject, if you're in contracts that are out till next week, stop playing them like scalps. I know this is, I notice, I'm the only reason I'm saying this, like just so objectively, I guess, like, is because it's just a universal problem that I see. If you're scalping, you have to be able to switch your mindsets, all right? Don't be looking at the 5 minute if you're out till next week or if you're out a month. There's no reason to be focused on the 5 minute time frame unless you are scalping and you're new and you're not using weekly contracts because you're being safe. But one thing that saves me quite often is letting the candle close. Let the candle close, and you'll often go back and see where a hourly candle faked you out. But if you had been watching a different time frame, you would have known. Excuse me. You would have known that it was still in trend. Also, we talked about Microsoft, and one thing I want to bring up before we go any further is this thing is likely going to trade like crap, and I'm anticipating a pullback on Microsoft to $300. If you can't take this trade, 298.85 is really the last mark that I have. Right now, the 9-day moving average on the daily is at 296.37, and so that one might end up creeping up. But the main point here, right, is we could absolutely 100% trade flat. Okay, the longer we trade flat, the more room we have to the upside. So here's my prediction, and I've been on the money with Microsoft for the most part. So we'll see if I can go for strike 3. But right here, I'm expecting movement like this. So if you take a look here, draw this top. Are you pivot points or just fib levels? It's using pivot points with the fib extension, so it's, I guess, custom, if you will. I just changed the settings on it. Yeah, for sure. Interesting. So one thing that I want to bring to your guys' attention too before we move on, just drop that in the chat, and I will absolutely get to CRISPR here in just a little bit. I'm about to go over all of your guys' requests in just a moment. I'm going to break off really quick because I forgot to read this headline. Investors have seemed to think that rising COVID cases across the U.S. might mean that the Fed will continue its accommodative policies for longer, right? So that's a weird setup because you can only hope that it rises so much before you get a shutdown, right? Or before you get some type of temporary lockdown, restrictions, anything of that nature. That is so weird. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure you guys saw that headline. Caught my eye. So anyway, with Microsoft, you guys can see that there's this zone that it trades at, right? So it traded flat and gave itself more room to run, right? So if it had ran straight up, it maybe hit 299, 300 on the dot. When it gives itself more room, the angle of this channel gives it more room. So the same thing can happen here. All the way till September 1st, somewhere in there, you could chop, or even pull back to that 9, stay in range, and if you stay low enough, you'll give yourself room to run to 310. And I think that we could see 310. I don't know. I mean, the farther that, as long as we stay in this channel, we're Gucci. But the farther that we stay consolidated, the longer, the farther that this channel will rise, and the further that target could go. So Microsoft is on watch, or just really monitoring that one for future movement. So, alrighty. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to your guys's stock request. What is my mouth doing right now? Do what I tell you. Can we take a look at Visa again? Yes. Thoughts on KWEB? Got it. All right, so let's go ahead and make sure we don't have any chart requests in there. Yeah. Okay. So Upstart. Yeah. If you guys want to go ahead and start posting your requests in the channel chat, I will go ahead and start getting to those right now. So. Yeah, I got you for sure. Actually, you're asking for IWM. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start with our major ETFs. So right off the bat, we'll just start with IWM. So we talked about this one this morning, about where pivot point was, and this is on the daily time frame, mind you. We are slap up against resistance. Okay, so running it off of this top here, you can see it's well respected, and then right here. So the pivot point, or this bright orange yellow line, usually acts like a trampoline, right? So if you break through it, you're gonna fall hard. If you bounce off of it or break through and bounce off, you're usually gonna trampoline. So IWM 223.80, you're broken downtrend, and that's what you have here. IWM has been in a garbage price zone for a while, and this honestly speaks volumes about what's going on, in our market. But period. What's going to need to happen tomorrow is a break above today's highs or a gap up. If the gap up is too substantial or too big, then I would absolutely suspect that you're going to get a gap down. I think that pre-market movement in pennies may be a good indicating factor on whether or not you're actually going to end up pushing up. Also, one thing to keep in mind is that if AMC, Clove, a lot of these stocks run, and I think that some investors are speculating that a lot of these stocks have ran because there's margin calls that are happening as of recently. So anyway, with IWM, the target there is 223.85 to the upside, and that would have a break in downtrend. And then obviously tomorrow it's going to be important that you look for signs of a reversal. And honestly, looking at this, I don't like that. So looking at this, and it's of course, to be taken with a grain of salt, but you do have what looks to be a potential rising wedge here on your 15-minute time frame. But I think I went over this previously, where I basically told people that when you're doing higher and lower time frame analysis, so you're looking at the daily and you're looking at the 15, you want to be able to look at the daily, see a support, and then go down further and see what's happening down there. Is it a reversal pattern? Is it a double bottom? Is it a triple top? And what is it, and what could the implications of that lower time frame pattern be on that higher time frame? That's going to give me an idea of the direction going into the next day. It was really good, dude. Our trading day was amazing. Thank you, dude, for all your help. Yeah, our trading day was absolutely phenomenal. Can't ask for a better trading day, to be honest with you. Okay, so IWM pullback. First pullback is 220.75, period. End of story. If it bounces there, then you do have another chance to potentially break to the upside. Below that mark, you have this 220.40 mark. And honestly, at that point, that's probably going to spell a rejection. You do have a unanswered gap below you around 217 to 215.70 that could absolutely get filled as well. So SPRT for sure. IWM. Let's go look at the Qs. Okay, so man, I love technical analysis. I don't know if anybody was live this morning with us. What did we talk about? Chop, right? And what did we get? Fucking chop, man. Literally that was my prediction to the T on what we could potentially see with the Qs. And I don't say that to brag. I say that as a point to one, the fact that technical analysis works, and the way that stocks behave, and the way that you can go look back at the way that things have behaved in the past and predict how they could potentially move in the future. And that's what I see here. And we do see what happens when we hit that channel support? Chop. I'm not a genius. I looked at the past. The past still hurts. It's like Rafiki. Okay, so anyway, for the Qs, guys, we're up against that channel top. We've seen this before. Something could come out of nowhere and blindside us. So if you guys are in positions that are Q related, well, you guys be very, 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 very careful. Can the Qs break out of this channel? Not if the HMA crosses over our price action. So if the HMA crosses, right, and this is the so I want to bring to your attention, this blue line is the HMA, right? It's a moving average. See how it crosses above the stock? That's bad. That means that it's likely going to reverse. And so in this case, when we have had such a good run or push off of this channel into this top zone, you either sit flat and chop and give yourself very minimal room to the upside, or you just quite simply pull back. And a lot of the times when you just stall up here, and you'll notice, right, that stocks stalled, or the Qs stalled up against that and just chopped, and stocks use that to make new highs. That's scary to me. That's not cool. That means that new highs are going to eventually lead to new lows. Sony, that's why I say, Sony, I'm okay with taking profit. Now, as far as can they break the channel top? Sure. Does it need to right now? Probably not. So above 275, don't take the Qs past 275 with weeklies without knowing or without seeing that proper volume for a breakout. So, okay. So we got the Qs. Let's go ahead and take a look at SPY. Same story. I really don't have to go in depth any further than I already have. What happens? Why do we know that stocks are going to behave certain ways when they get to certain levels? And that's usually because you start to see retail, and most often it's going to be volume, right? That's going to be that main identifier. So you'll notice that SPY volume today was just terrible. Now, I'm not saying that I'm predicting a market dump. I'm not. I just think that we're going to pull back. And I think a pullback to 446.40 is highly likely. And that's just using my moving averages and psychological marks of 446.50. Now, the HMA is directly below that at 446, so that's definitely a probable level for a bounce as well. But this is the top of this channel, so I am suspecting that we will see a pullback from this level. Now, where have we usually pulled? So we've either pulled back and chopped, so we need to make sure that we have levels set as to where this stock or where we could see bouncing in price action. So one place that we could see a bounce is right around here, 447.75. That could be another bounce level for, and the reason why I'm bringing that to your attention is because once it hits a certain level, it decides to bounce, it can get really, really choppy, especially after being so heavily consolidated here. So, and then one thing to keep in mind, the daily 50-day EMA is where SPY most often likes to trampoline off of. So, okay. By the way, I know you. I totally skipped Roblox. That really wasn't like my trade, but I did take Roblox and I took a Roblox contract. That was a great trade as well. Popped up to 87. It actually ended up running all the way up to 89. 47. I think a lot of people are anticipating this one. Also, I know nobody asked for it, but this one's also on watch for a bounce. No bounce happens. I'm looking for the bounce also, mind you, around 88.50 at the minimum, or at a minimum if we don't get a bounce on Roblox there. Thoughts on GRWG? Hop on the YouTube and I will chart that for you. I love GRWG. I already have it charted forever, but I'm happy to update you on it. It's one of my favorite stocks. All right, so major ETFs kind of covered here. Let's go ahead. All right, let's go ahead and get to Cisco. Hold on, let me make sure I didn't miss any up. Okay, so we got SQ, Mobo, do you want me to go over C3 or are you good? So we got SQ, Pfizer, and Visa. So let's start with SQ. All right, so where are we at? All right, so looks like I need to clean this thing up a little bit. All right, so 2 days of relatively weak price action. All right, so it looks like it's climbed above the hourly HMA, right? So back below that HMA. Otherwise, I think this is going to end up staying bullish. And one of the reasons why I believe that is you can see it tapers a lot and often will pop. This did come off of earnings, but you do see this similar movement on SQ. Now, we've talked about the channel that it's in. And right now, I think the 270 level is the biggest level for SQ for continuation. 272.35 was where we hit today. We're in a really murky area. So, and mind you, one second, so mind you, this is an odd pattern, right? So this is not your usual pattern that you would see. And you're also fighting with all-time highs right around here. So make it simple for yourself. Go to the 15-minute, set a range, right? Where's that range? There's one range there, there's one range here, and play it to the downside or upside, either range. And from there you can set targets. I think like a target anywhere above this high is obviously 275. So if you bounce, so watch SQ for a bounce. So a bounce on SQ would be 271. Now, of course, this has a lot to do with our correlating ETFs. So I would watch for SQ, to potentially bounce and break out above today's high. And if it does, if you go look here on the daily with me, you'll notice that the 277 mark is where the daily HMA is. Guys, the HMA is a big resistance. Those of you just tuning in, those of you who don't know what the hell I'm saying, an HMA is just a moving average, and it's very fluid. It's very quicker and straightforward, I guess you could say, than a lot of your other moving averages. It almost works like Pluto, maybe that's a terrible metaphor, but it comes around only once in a while on those higher time frames and will make itself known, and then it just leaves. You know what I mean? So like the HMA is just chilling. Nobody gives a shit, and then it just comes in and you get it. Whack, look at that, pop right off of it. Then you go and you split and you cause all of this chop. Same thing here. Ends up being a big resistance. You break under it. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to break above it. Anytime you get above it, if buyers aren't ready, then they will get pulled right back down underneath. So I would set that 277. Don't not have alerts on Square, because if this thing does end up actually running to the target that we have potentially set for Square, which is $300, that's going to be a ripper. So. Quick question on AMC. Why 41.50 for the bounce? Good question. So and I'll answer it a little bit more in depth. But if you go back out here, right, you'll see that we have, and I think it was the 5 minute? No, I think it was the 15 minute that I had it on. Okay, so for 41.50, right, and I think right here on the daily too, I set up the pivot points. The breakout level, right? The first original breakout level for AMC, and you can draw a line back, right? So rather than use a pivot point. So see how this ends up being, buyers don't like it above here and they pull it back down. Same thing here, ends up getting a strong bounce off of that same level. So what I'm looking for is levels where we've had previous resistance or failed breakouts. Those are levels where sellers are potentially sitting. And because we're nearing the HMA, and because the way that this stock moves, they're trying to shake out the weak hands. There's a lot of, I'll just say it, manipulation type tactics that happen here. So of course AMC can see big ass giant wicks. And one thing that I was telling people is that if you notice where the 9-day moving average is on things like the daily and the 4-hour, you'll notice that it's kind of lagging behind. And so in order, usually when you're in a bull run and you hit a major resistance, you go and retest those moving averages, and those moving averages are lining up with 41.50, which is also just a psychological number. But that's also a pivot point that we have, or a retracement for a fib as well. Okay, so sorry, I just wanted to hop on that one. Okay, so yo, how's everybody doing? Trade day was amazing, Brian. How was your trade day? You made $1 grand on Roblox. Nice job, Robert. Let's go. Hey. All right, let's go ahead and do V. I think we got Visa. We have PFE and Visa. I'm gonna do Visa really quick. Okay, so I know to much of the disappointment of a lot of people in here, and I didn't take it, but it was definitely a trade that I expected to see a little bit more momentum on. This was the deadpan reversal that you got. Now this is a previous level that we've seen. This is a bounce level. That's when we're finding levels anywhere where you get a significant bounce or a significant rejection. That's a level to mark, and you can see all across the board. That's what we see here. So either A, we go and we create an inverse head and shoulders. So this is a potential setup for a inverse head and shoulders. It's a little early in the game, but because you are ending the day with what looks to be a higher time frame bear flag below 333.77, there is a possibility that you could go and retest 231.50. If I ever say the wrong number, right, that is not on the screen, I do have just a slight seasoning of dyslexia, just the right amount. So I apologize for the mix-up of numbers and letters. I'm doing my best. But anyway, so above Visa, there's a high probability that you bounce at that same level, but that bounce will signify whether that inverse head and shoulders happens. Now, I don't like the setup that I see here so far. You can see the similarities between this and this. So Visa really below 233.65 is going to spell, I would likely say 231.75 is a good level to watch. And at that point, you could very well make an inverse head and shoulders, which is a reversal pattern. Now, I absolutely have seen reversal patterns come out of these falling wedges, or reversals happen out of falling wedges, but only to pull right back down to support and bounce again for an inverse head and shoulders. And there is a lot between us and a breakout. 237 is when we'll finally break into the clear on Visa. So for long-term traders, you're just going to want to take this one level by level. To the downside, 233.50, and then of course 234.24, and then you have another level below that at 234.24. 230, excuse me, I apologize, 231.50. Okay, so, and that's only if you end up gapping back up, or if this ends up extending itself, right? You know, this would be another stab. You would just look for the same breakout level, which is right around 236. Brian, if you go rewind a little bit further back, I did catch Sony, but if we have time, I will go over that one, or I'll just send you my chart. Just for those of you who are just tuning in, Sony is one of my favorite stocks for a small account and to swing trade. Don't sleep on it. It's a great short swing trade account, because what happens, you catch it in trend, most of the movement happens after hours. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you, brother. GRWG, make sure to write that in the chat. If you guys we're in TikTok, make sure to drop your TikTok request and best time frame to use to find short swing trades. Still the daily and the 4 hour for maintaining and finding daily trends. It's up to you on how long you want to swing them. So if you see a good setup on the hourly, right, and the daily looks good, you always want to know what your major resistances are. Brian, I'd be happy to go hit you with the screenshot for sure. I'd absolutely. And also, if you guys are in the Discord, please always feel welcome to utilize the live channels to chart or trade, whatever the case. If I'm not on, you guys are always welcome to trade with each other, talk to each other. You guys only get better together. And I mean, obviously you guys can see in the chat that has been one of our strong suits, is having a really good team. So, okay, so we have, sorry, I'm just making sure I don't skip anything. I'm going to go ahead and highlight them so you guys can see them on the screen. So we got Visa. Pfizer is next. Short-term calls. Rubinho. All right, so I think I got Pfizer kind of on lock as far as... All right, so just to keep it 100, I don't want to lie to anybody. The bounce level you're looking for is $48. If $48 does not get broken on Pfizer, then I would suspect that this trend line, right, and I'm using the angle of this trend to give me an idea of where we could possibly go. So below $48, okay, let's say it again, below 48, my target is 46.85. Okay, now that has a lot to do with this little trend line that I have set here, but this is a channel, and in that channel, a lot of the times you will trade like that, whether it be correction or what have you. If you go and look at the if you go look at the 4 hour, right, you'll notice that this trend line going all the way back from July has been broken, right? That's not good. And you're getting towards that level of $48 that you need to see some sort of bounce and recovery back to the upside. Now that recovery is likely to come around $49 and $50. I think that there's still bulls here, and I think that there is a high probability that you at least retest tomorrow. So you will likely get a small bounce, but it's continuation that you're going to be looking for above $49.88 and above our $85 and $50. And this downtrend break would, of course, be a nice confirmation as well. All right, so we got Pfizer to the downside below $48. And I would say a good reversal mark is going to be around, basically, I'm just going to go ahead and just keep it straight up 49. I do see a potential... this right here, so I do see this. We'll see how that plays out. So more than likely above 49.25. Okay, so let's go ahead. We got Pfizer next request. KWEB. All right, badass. But of course, you're playing with fire. Okay, so you don't know how this is going to turn out. Maybe always good to secure profit when profit is there. We're going to see if we can't find our downtrend here. So there it is. Ah, beautiful. More beauty. Do you want that wick in there for real? I can't tell. No, you don't. Okay, so just right there. Perfect. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so we got a nice channel here. It looks like you've got $56. That's my guess, and I'll go off on a limb and say that gaps aren't going to really matter too much here. It does look like it doesn't look like gaps get filled or anything like that. Volume is at an incredible high. And of course, you saw phenomenal movement here, riding that 9-day moving average. One thing that I like to do in long-term swing trades or holding longer positions is find a What? Oh my god, I knew it was coming. Here it comes. Nope. So I like to find a correlating moving average where I find the most respect. So let's say it's, for me, Baidu, and I think it's on the hourly. Let's go back and check instead of guess. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So with Baidu, right, when we were shorting it forever ago, back here, okay, I noticed that during this run, right, and we literally shorted this every day until I literally had to put a restraining order on in between me and Baidu. But this thing, look at these wicks, guys. Look at that hourly wick off of the 50-day EMA. To the dot, right? You get a downtrend wick here, back to 50. So when I'm looking at, and here's another example. Look, JMIA, 2-hour time frame, right? Let's go look at what JMIA likes to do. Okay. A lot of times this can change, but look at these bounces, right? Showing me respect. So it's good to find a correlating time frame, correlating ETF, or correlating time frame, correlating moving average. But in the case of KWEB, it looks to me as if it's holding its 9-day moving average so far, right? And that may be, you know, the 30-minute time frame where it's more respected. Yeah, so it looks like the 30-minute is a good day trading time frame. So below, you know that when it breaks below, closes a candle below that moving average, you're likely going to see a pullback. So far in after hours, looks like you're good, primed for some sort of continuation. Of course, $50 is that psychological number. You've broken past it. So the first immediate target is 51.75. And of course, I showed you on the daily this bottom trend line that is more than likely going to get tested at $56 on the dot. And that is also lined up with my 50 EMA, right? So see how that almost intertwined, backing up my theory and backing up that resistance. So I don't even need this downtrend. I could just speculate that the 50 would get touched and both of my prerequisites would get hit. So, all right. So, IWM, we got CSCO. Did I get that right? Because I confused it. Holy shit. Okay, it's gone. First off, has left the building. Okay, so you're above all-time highs. What is the weekly? Nope, you're not. Oh my god. Well, that was back in 2000. So you're back at 2000 levels. Okay, so you just crossed level established in June 2019 after a supreme low here. You've got multiple EMA crossovers to the upside, and again, you have broken out to the upside on that weekly time frame. So looking at the weekly and looking at the stock, what happened? Is this a tech bubble or some shit? It's a little tougher to chart, I'll be honest with you. Sorry, I'm trying to establish some levels. All right, so speculatively, and it's always okay here in this situation when you're in price exploration mode to use pivot points. Now, we have absolutely blown past our pivot points, so now we got to go to the weekly. So our next weekly pivot point is at $60.32. Now, anytime you break a major level, it doesn't matter what time frame it is on, the further away your moving averages are from the actual breakout level, the higher the probability of a retest of that very same level that you broke out from becomes. So I would anticipate after this type of run, which has been substantial, definitely holding support really, really well. You can see that here. So more than likely at $60, you may pull back, right? So pull back to this trend line here and consolidate further before trying to make a new high into the potentially $60, $65 level. So Cisco is really in price exploration mode to some extent, considering how far or how long it's been since we've been to these levels. So, all right, so Upstart. Go ahead and go over Upstart here. All right, so I've gone over Upstart. One of the reasons why I actually caught this trade today. I caught a lot of trades today. I'm blanking here, but Upstart was one. I think I signaled. Did anybody take that with us in the Discord? Yeah. I took a 210 call on Upstart today. I took that right before the 209.25 break. And this one just fucking skyrocketed. Just completely ripped. So that was awesome. The reason why I took that was because of the bounce off the pivot point, and the reason why I took that as well is because I understand how cyclical Upstart is after earnings, right? How similar does this look to this and this, right? Every time earnings comes, huge ripper, and then a pullback, and then just sits flat, goes back into support. So I'm anticipating maybe one last push up to 225, maybe 222, 224. We'll watch it, but then a pullback after that. I wouldn't get too overzealous on that one. Don't get caught buying the top, because when it reverses, it's going to reverse hard, and that's what we're waiting for. In fact, I would be looking to the downside as much as the upside in this situation. And if you look, you are at risk of a double top here. So Upstart below 213, and you're heading back down. And I may even take a long short on it, just looking at the behavior of it. So, okay. So anyway, you ended the day under R2, hopefully a breakup of that, and you could see R3, which is 232.80, and that's only with good volume. Again, we know how it moves at these levels, so it's important to keep that in mind. All right, so let's go ahead and yo, Adam, thank you, dude. What the fuck? Yeah, especially when you're doing long-term trades. BBY, I'm curious what you just said. Yeah, we'll look at that one. How am I feeling about BBY? Let's look at that in just a second. Did you? Yeah, that Sony trade was that Sony trade was sick. All of the swing trades were sick. So, what number? It will die too. Yes, and if AMC and Game die, it will die too. Yeah, sorry, I just want to make sure I didn't miss that. Okay, so we got IWM, Tilray, and PFE. We already got Pfizer, so we'll go ahead and look at Tilray here, okay? Thanks for your patience, guys. I appreciate you all. I know sometimes it's boring to listen to me just drag on about shit, but hopefully you guys are able to learn from even me taking other requests and see how I see things, and maybe it will work for you. So that is the goal. Okay, so I think I got Tilray pretty well mapped out. So what happened here is Tilray ended up breaking out of a falling wedge, and I've talked about this before. When stocks kind of end up cupping after they break out of falling wedges, so you get the initial retail pop, and then it just ends up getting pulled back down. Now, what's happening here is it's flirting with certain levels, because there's a very, very small gap at $10.55 to $9. So really right below $12.50, and at the moment you're looking for a break above $14.25. For me, I think, and this is just a wild thought at the moment, that is actually what happened. So this is a prime example, listen to this, a prime example of a wedge extending itself in order to frustrate traders. This has happened to me. This has happened to other people. It's going to continue to happen to people. Don't. That's why wedges can be dangerous, because of the potential for extension. And that's exactly what we're finding here on Tilray. So with Tilray, it's going to be rather imperative. You are seeing a nice curl here, and you are, even if this is the downtrend, you are seeing a nice break in downtrend. So for me, I'd like to see 1425, 1450 with the first immediate level of $15. $15 volume, cannabis sentiment, $16, and it moves like that. Tilray moves in dollar increments, and you can see here 16. Well, that day actually run a couple dollars, but for the most part, Tilray tends to make those dollar moves up and down. So, all right, so we got Tilray. Yeah, how'd the hourly? Yeah, hourly ended with a flag, so set alert there at 1380, 1382. And for that breakout high of day, watch the gap up. We'll go over that one a little bit more in the morning as well. So. COMM. Hey, yuck! What the fuck happened here, my guy? Yikes! Calm scoped. They got no scoped. Jesus, what happened? I feel like Ant-Man and end the end game. What happened here? So this was what was happening, but they fucked that. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be cussing. They messed that up. You got give me an idea of what we got going on here, man. That's rough. Really? Awesome. Well, if you guys like it, I like it. I'm glad you're here. Adam, that dog is just adorable, dude. And I got you, TSM. We'll check that out just in a little bit. Hold on. We're making our way out. Making our way downtown. I know everybody just saying that same line in their head. COM. All right, so we'll just do what we can with this one. I don't know if you might be delayed, so you might not be able to hear me right now. But if you get to this point, look at the previous bounce level. So you see right there, 1550. So you're seemingly trying to recover the same thing above 1650. It's going to be, anytime you get a big drop like this, it's always obvious that you're going to get a big pop. Now you have a gap that's left unfilled at 1915 to 2035. Again, I don't know what happened here. If the news is negative and earnings was really that bad, then more than likely you're going to continue to the downside. And it seems like, observing the way that this moves in previous earnings, here you see strong movement to the downside. So watch for a reversal around 1675 if it retests, and then watch it for a breakdown to that low. And of course, look. I do anticipate a pop up at least to 1665, but otherwise it's kind of looking pretty shitty. So real quick, just to interrupt you guys, because I think you should know this. I'm gonna just really quick, like a rodeo dude, like read off these insider sells, and then we're gonna get right back into charting. So Dash. Shit ton of sales. Dash 221,000 shares, $3.95 million. Dash $113.28 million or shares, $10.58 million. Another 13.88 K shares, $2.55 million as well. These are all filed by Dash. PLTR also filing for major selling. Please don't be scared about PLTR selling, okay? They do this for tax purposes and because they know they're about to make an ass load of money in the future, and they're doing it for a good reason. So don't be scared when you see PLTR selling stuff. Funko, we saw 181.51 million shares at 3.25 million. 181,000 shares, basically $3.25 million. And that's Funko. So We're going to go ahead and highlight that one. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that. And this is in our Discord. Those of you who are on YouTube, our Discord, all insider buying, golden sweeps, any calls over $1 million, dark pool, equity prints, AIs all come into our Discord automatically. So don't have to go anywhere. But I'm going to go ahead and post that in my channel. So you guys go look at Dumbledore. I got to change that soon. I'm going to highlight that. So I just want to do this. We missed this last night, but it's super important, guys, because it will give you an indication of moves going into the next day. Also, CHTR, not quite sure what exactly this company does. I've heard it before, 789.58 thousand shares, $166 million. And that's it. Oh, hold on. CRM sells. SPRO, 399.19 thousand shares, 6.19 million. SPRO. I've played this before. I'm going to set an alert on that thing. Holy shit, this thing could skyrocket tomorrow. 17 bucks. Okay, all right, back to charting. Sorry, guys, thank you for your patience. Just wanted to go over that with you guys. Okay, so best time. AMAT. All right, it's a runaway. AMAT. Okay, so this would likely play into my analysis that I've given out previously. For AMAT, right, you are holding support. There is a lot of sellers that would try to push this down. Looks like earnings. This is a bilateral pattern. Inside of any pattern, especially those that are bilateral, you can, and of course that's not going to work, so you have to actually, and you could do this mathematically or you could just do it by hand. Oh shit. So what I like to do is make sure that I have my lines connected, and I will eyeball it. I want you guys to notice what the wicks do. Shit, get out of the way. You guys see that? That's what we're looking to get back over. So we need to get back over 134.50. 134.50. I don't think that AMAT's going to, it could end up breaking out of this to the upside. That would be one hell of a run. And so far it looks like it's just barely holding. You've got the 9-day moving average on the weekly kind of curling over. Daily right here, again, showing a rejection off of the 133.50 mark. And so if you end up rejecting, this could be played out as a bear flag, and below 125, you're more than likely going to go back down into the 1-teens, so 117, 118 mark. So. TSM, I got your AMAT there, so. Yeah, no problem. It's a runaway. Hopefully that helped, brother. Tesla, sure, no problem. Brian, right on. Welcome. I've been in the Discord. I've been following for 3 months now. Nice. $2 weeks. I'm in the Discord. Oh, Zio. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Nice. Well, welcome everybody who's climbing in. If I missed your, oh, BBY. Sorry. And then you see an evening star pattern for SPY. Let's see if I missed it. right, so you're talking about on SPY, correct? Let's see if I missed that. Daily? No, that's not an evening star yet. You need another doji. You have that is a doji though. That's basically like, yeah, a morning star candlestick. Evening doji star, yes, but are you talking? Usually, evening stars are gonna have a very small body, whereas a doji, just a doji, can have no body, right? Flat. Let me see if I can give you so that would actually be considered a neutral doji, right? So there's neither direction. It's a neutral doji. There's no dragonfly, there's no gravestone, there's no four price doji. It's a doji. You have long-legged dojis, dragonfly dojis, gravestone dojis, four price dojis, and that's you could call it even a traditional doji, but there's different names for it. Okay, so okay, so that's not going to work, but this will. All right. Sorry, I had to. That one was a tougher chart for sure. You guys see it. I don't ever. I could. There's no possible way I can know what you guys are going to ask me to chart. So I'm not. A lot of this takes me a second. So, so there's obviously a whole fleet of sellers around 126. Starting at 125, basically. I would say 125. There's a zone, 125 to 124.10. Even getting close to 125, it's an easy short. Hopefully, earnings is the catalyst that brings the attention and the volume in order to break out of this consolidation. Because this would be, as far as I know, all-time highs. You gotta be shitting me, dude. Hold on. The year that I was born, let's see, what about the month? Dude, Best Buy was trading for $2.75 when I was a kid, dude. Buy your kids stocks. Kids, even if they don't exist. And if they don't ever end up existing, you get to be your kid, and those are your stocks now. Congratulations. So I'm going to keep this one simple. We need an outstanding volume. We need social sentiment. We need it all, because this is a very obvious level in which Best Buy could do the exact opposite of what we would like it to do. Now, today was a good attempt to push into that level, but the rejection was obvious, right? So maybe a taper, right? Maybe a little flag. It already looks like you've bounced here in after hours. So watch for a retest. A retest could bring you at 123.70, could bring 75, could bring you a double top, which is another reversal sign. Otherwise, you would like to see rising volume throughout the day and then continuation over that high. So 124 on the dot. 124.05, I guess. Look at this cute little dog. People tip me.
Oh, I thought you meant like a real dog.
No, if people send me, that'd be also cool if they could send me real dogs.
What?
I also take real dog tips. Not consistently though. That's awesome, man. Cool, Brian. He can be in the group for free. Okay, so I just want to make sure. All right, TSM I think is... Yeah, so BBY, strong volume, 124. It's just a matter of watching the tape. There's nothing the chart can do. The only thing we can do is watch how the stock reacts. So. Alright, excuse me. I always can tell when people get hit with ads because all of a sudden the concurrent viewers drops to like 9 people. Of course, Rolling Warrior. Charting, and let me say this too, guys. Don't beat yourself up about charts, all right? That is, it's something that comes naturally and with time. I think for the most part, everybody who's been in the Discord to some extent has been able to improve their charting as they've traded, because it's something that happens as you, it's a personal thing, right? Because charting is, it's just like any group of people, you're looking for confirmation, because at the end of the day, guys, charting or charts is all an agreed upon thing, an unspoken agreement amongst the entire stock market. We all see this wedge, so we're all going to buy it. And then you want everybody to see it, right? Because that means that people are going to try to take advantage of it. And a lot of times you'll see things that market makers build, and you can still take advantage of those as well. So just be patient with yourselves, guys. When it comes to charting, it will come, and it gets easier and easier as it goes. So he picked Ayla, which is his little sister. Ayla, if you want, I'll chart Ayla at the end of the thing, and then you can show him the video and be like, this is what he thinks of Ayla. I'm gonna let Ayo buy some stock of Ayo. That's my son's name, so. All right. So let's. TSM. All right, let's go hit TSM now. What? Okay, so I know that we see this pattern here. Now I want to make it very clear that we, as America, is actively seeking different countries to help ease our semiconductor woes. That being said, any deal between now and then could likely send TSM ripping, and of course the semiconductor industry or sector together as well. You are getting a third bounce off of support, right? So 1, 2, 3 bounces. You have recovered the 200-day EMA, so you're gonna want to recover 114 and then 115.75. At that point, you could, and more than likely, we'll take a trip to 120. One thing that I've noticed here on daily trends is when the stock crosses up and above on the daily, the HMA crosses up and above, that's a major shift in trend. Also, right, we could use this whole ribbon indicator. Hold on a second. There it is. That's my HMA. Okay, so peep that, right? Perfectly in line. So more than likely you're going to retest that level. But again, this has a lot to do with our needs, semiconductor needs. So, what are you smoking back there, Peyton? Chill out. Just joking, YouTube. Just joking. All right. I'll show you my HMA script. Tesla. All right, Tesla guys, drop your. If I missed it, drop them down here in the request box because this is the last ones. And then I'll just answer whatever questions you guys have, and we'll go ahead and call it a night and get ready for tomorrow morning because hopefully we'll have another nice open. So, okay. Okay. All right. So Tesla. All right, so I still think that we're going to move up. I almost don't see this. I see this line here. Again, this has everything to do with the market and very little to do with what we think about it, I guess, is the only way to put it. I have a target right now of around 650. I actually lost a little bit of money on a Tesla trade. It was a speculative one. I didn't lose a lot. And I mean by a lot, like I lost, I think, about $360, right? For me, that's not an insane loss. I cut it for a minimal loss, in my opinion. So, and I'm totally okay with re-entering because if you guys trade Tesla with us, you know you can make $360 in about 3 seconds on a good Tesla move. So, I actually like that we finish the day like this. You'll notice in runs that Tesla has that you'll get these little, look at this, you get these little stupid days. See that little stupid day? A little stupid day there, another dumb day. Here's some dumb days. So you just get these weird days, and I think that's what we're seeing here. I'm looking for a leg up tomorrow past 725 to hit the target of maybe even 740. So 747 was like the top, but basically 745. And that's if we're feeling crazy. We could go flat a little bit longer, right? Flat line here, and then just shoot back up. So don't sleep on today's high, which is 715. Okay, so we got pretty much all of those requests. Let's see, do we have anything else? Nope. Let's go ahead and let's chart Ayla because that'll be fun. All right, this is for you, buddy. Keep pushing. Dad's gonna make you rich. All right, check this out. All right, so this is a yes channel to the upside here, but more or less with a stock like this, Ayla Pharmaceuticals, we've got to find out what they do. This is going to be a fundamental play or a news catalyst play, but you have a lot of levels on this stock right now. So you've got a couple key levels, but it's at a good speculative buy spot. As you can tell previously on Ayla, it's made really, really nice runs all the way to $28 before falling back down. And so anytime you see a stock pull back, right, that's one that was speculative, it pulls back to before it even ripped and it sits flat. If it doesn't go lower, then it could be continuing to wait for said news. So this is not a terrible place to accumulate shares and have a small position for a potential news-based event. Now, in the meantime, as long as you maintain trend here, you can see that on this time frame, which is going to be around the hourly time frame, but I can see it here on the daily that we have a very obvious downtrend. That downtrend will get broken and surpassed around 13 bucks, 13.50, and then maybe even the 16.40 mark if you end up pushing to the next resistance that I see here. And I want you guys to also notice, right, that this line, right, that 16.50 that I marked, where does my dynamic resistance and timing set up? Right around there. So, good luck. Hopefully this one does you well. Alrighty, guys. Disney, okay. Disney, and then we're going to go ahead and call it a night, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys very much. I believe the TikTok, I'm not sure. I haven't checked. You guys can check for me if you want. But I think we hit 20,000 followers, which is pretty cool. A little alarming that over 1 million people have seen my face. Maybe not what as I was expecting, but that's still pretty cool. And if you make NFTs, I will tell people that I bought your NFTs. If they're cool. Okay, so Disney is hot dog water. That's a technical term coming from Wall Street. So this is just absolute garbage as far as price action is concerned. I honestly am just staying away from Disney. One of the things I'm anticipating is that they may have to shut their parks back down and or like limit the amount of people that can come in, period. And I don't know why, but I feel like that's why we're seeing no movement, right? Disney is sitting on its daily 200-day EMA. The EMA that basically signifies downtrend, like COVID, or, I guess back here in February, we had a even worse drop going after earnings. But, this is one of those stocks that when it breaks its 200, and you can see action here, it breaks the 200 there, absolutely waterfalls, holds the 200 here, and bounces back, holds the 200, holds everything here. But here you end up spilling over. Here you end up spilling over. Yeah, this is COVID actually. So anyway, we're at that 200 where we have to make a move to either the up or the downside. We have seen this stock move up and gap up on earnings, hitting that whole ribbon indicator and immediately rejecting. So far, as long as it stays in this range, I'm not touching it. As soon as it breaks that range, it could very well go to 185, right? That's the target that I would have for it, 185. Past 185, we'll talk then. But in the meantime, Disney and SPY don't seem to be giving, or really Disney can follow the Dow, but doesn't seem to be providing the greatest setup at the moment. If anything, I would be suspecting that it would go to the downside. Disney's actually, I don't know if anybody knows this, Disney actually the first stock that I ever played with options. I made $600 and I looked at my screen and said, this is the life for me. Appendage, are you on YouTube right now? Our one-on-ones are included. They're no extra charge. I accept tips and stuff like that, but there's no extra charge for one-on-ones if you're in the Discord. I don't have any prices for people outside of the Discord because I just haven't thought about that kind of stuff, but I am looking to make a custom video platform. I don't know if I don't even know which one to use. That's how not great I am at tech. But for people who aren't in the chat but want me to do a full 5 to 10 minute breakdown on their stock for long term, I'll end up doing that for some type of charge or something like that. But that's not going to come anytime soon, and I'll still continue to do nightly recaps. So I did scissor licks. That's hilarious. PFE, you guys make me say things I don't want to with your screen names. Harry Areola. But PFE, we already covered that one previously. So if you rewind that one, I believe that was at the, hold on one second. Let's see here, Pfizer. So that was going to be around 8:45 on the chart that I went around Pfizer. So how would I be able to get that to happen? Mark certain events. I might have to get an editor to do that. So Yeah, I don't think a lot of people are buying into Disney, and there's a reason why. All right, guys. Okay, so what script do I use for the HMA on TradingView? Let's go and take a peek. So as far as the script, if you just go to indicators here, the HMA, I use the whole moving average, right there. Don't whatever that is. I use the whole, and then I have the 500 as an input on that one. Some people use the 9, some people use the 200 HMA. I use the 500 for long-term trends. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Yeah, his name is Harry. Yeah, that's his name. It's Mandingus or something, I think is his name now, but that's because I changed his name. I couldn't keep saying that out loud. Okay, guys. Well, that's about it for me. Hopefully these breakdowns helped. If you feel like they could help somebody else, feel free to reshare this video, reshare our channel. I do appreciate it. We'll be on tomorrow, same time. Those of you who are, no problem, Fredo. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Those of you who guys are in the Discord, I'm trying to be up. I've said this a couple of days in a row, but I know some of you guys have schedule constraints, full-time jobs. Totally get it. But I will be on bright and early, more than likely 8:15, 8:30. So you guys are more than welcome to hop on. That's a chance for you guys to actually get the charts charted in real time. Because you have pre-market movement, I get a better look at where we could be heading going into the day. You'll notice that my pre-market analysis is way more accurate, right? Like if you guys were on with this one, I had to brag about, but like that Tesla pre-market recap that I gave you guys a couple of days ago, I think it's where we had the gap. Yeah, so we had this gap fill. This was the pre-market play that you guys asked me about. I said, yo, we got that rejection there off of 688. All we have to do is fill that gap. The 200 is there. If we get that gap filled, take it at pre-market highs. And if anybody took Tesla with weekly options for pre-market highs, you made bank. So that was an amazing play. But that was only because I was able to see where we opened up. So look at Tesla. Oh my God. I think it was like about it done. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate your support. Every night you guys come on and you support the channel. I appreciate you guys so much. So I will see you guys tomorrow morning. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.